And good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our session today on adding video to your Canvas course. I'm Dave Giberson, an old retired instructional design coordinator from Online Learning Pathways, and I am glad to see you all today. Many of you are very familiar. If there's someone there I haven't met before, it's a pleasure. The subject of today's meeting is one of the most powerful forms of instructional content that you can use in an online course. We've all heard the old saw about a picture and 1,000 words. Well, if a picture is worth 1,000 words, how many words are 30 pictures a second worth, which is an average frame rate for a video, which is basically just a series of still images, one right after the other, displayed one right after the other very rapidly, so rapidly that your eye can't distinguish the individual frames or pictures. And this medium has had tremendous educational potential and has very much realized that potential since the early days of television. It was one of the first things that people saw video as one of the most important things about video that people first saw. Obviously, there's been a lot of video since then, and not all of it has been especially instructive, and some of it that was instructive was not perhaps instructive in a way that any of us would have particularly approved. But it is a powerful information delivery medium. And it's especially powerful in an online course where you're not physically present with your students in the classroom. And that's apparently just about the only kind of course, or the vast majority of the courses that we will be offering through the end of fall term are apparently going to be in that category. So video, the use of video in your online courses looms as a huge opportunity for to make your online courses better, more instructive, and quite frankly, more entertaining to deal with, because video is also an entertaining medium. People will watch a video when they won't read a chapter about something. Most of us at one time or another have watched the movie instead of read the book. And your students are no exceptions to that. And if the movie is instructional enough, well, that works out fine. So what we're going to be talking about today is primarily, one, how to find video that's already been created that will be of use for you and your subject area, and two, how to get that into your Canvas course in an effective way so that you can share it with your students. So this session is more about finding video and embedding video or inserting video into your Canvas courses than it is about creating video. We have other sessions where we do that, though I will talk a little bit about that, because there are some ways in which creating video is so easy. One of those ways is what I'm doing right now, recording a Zoom session. I'm recording myself talking to you. I'm recording your reactions to it. And in a moment, I'm going to start sharing my screen. And when I do that, Zoom will record my shared screens as well, in full motion, so that in the recording you'll be able to see exactly what you see in real time when I share my screen in a live Zoom meeting. So probably the best way you have and the easiest way you have to create video content for your students is what you do every time you host a Zoom meeting with them. Just host a Zoom meeting, run through what you want the students to know, pull up documents, videos, websites, whatever you would normally do in class, and then record that and put it online so that the students can view it later. So Zoom is an not only a wonderful meeting tool, it's a terrific video production tool. So let me go ahead and share my screen and we'll get started with this. And if you're sharing your screen in Zoom and you think you may be playing a video, which I certainly will be doing today several times, you always want to check the option in the lower left-hand corner of the intermediate screen that pops up when you start to share your screen. When you first click the share screen button in Zoom, you get a window up that asks you what you want to share, but it also gives you a couple of options about how you share. And one of those options is to share your computer's sound. And if you're going to be sharing video with your students during a Zoom meeting, you want to make sure you have that option checked. Otherwise, the students will be able to see the video but not hear it. And we get that question a lot, so I'll just mention that here. And now I'll share my screen. And here, and let me move this around a little bit so there's no chance of anybody's video on a mobile device overlaying the upper right-hand corner of what I'm trying to show you. And here we have something that most of you are quite familiar with, a blank canvas shell. So a lot of what we're going to be doing today is talking about how to get video that you find into your blank canvas shell. There are several ways to do that. We'll go through each of them. But we'll start off with talking about where to find video that you might use in your Canvas course, or for any other purpose. And much of the time today, we'll be talking about linking or embedding this video into Canvas pages. The Canvas page is basically a web page that you create on Canvas using the Canvas Rich Content Editor. I click my Pages tool and click, well, I could add a page here, but I've already created a sample page for us to use today in this shell. So I'll just click on that page to access it. Right now it's nothing but a title. And I can edit that page. And now I have access to the Canvas Rich Content Editor, which you see over and over again in Canvas. You see it everywhere from the announcement creation screen to the post screen or the editor in a Canvas discussion forum, and you see it in when you're adding comments to student work and so on. So this rich content editor is ubiquitous throughout Canvas. There are a number of media management icons here on the second line of the Rich Content Editor. We'll be looking at all of these today. But one in particular I'd like to start with is this little YouTube icon here. YouTube is the largest, most compatible, most reliable repository of instructional video in the world. It's something like the third most commonly visited site on the World Wide Web. And millions of videos are uploaded to YouTube every minute. There are trillions of videos on YouTube, and not all of them are videos of cats riding robot vacuum cleaners. Many of them are highly instructional. The things that have been put up on YouTube by content creators out of the goodness of their heart in most cases. Instructional videos don't tend to be monetizable on YouTube especially. Nobody's going to make a killing putting their instructional videos on YouTube. So mostly it's just people like you all over the world sharing their work freely on YouTube. And by freely, I mean that you can link a YouTube video or embed a YouTube video into your Canvas course with total confidence that you are not violating copyright law, which is always one of the great concerns. You can also be pretty darn certain that you're not violating accessibility regulations either, because all videos, well, 99+% of all videos stored on YouTube have closed captions. Closed captions that are good enough so that a hearing impaired student can tell what's going on in that video if they play it without being able to hear the soundtrack. So YouTube is not only a source of instructional video, but of accessible instructional video that is unequaled anywhere in the world. And in recognition of that fact, the folks who write Canvas have placed this little icon in the rich content editor for you to give you access to YouTube directly without even having to leave Canvas. All you have to do here, if you want to search for topic videos or videos on a particular topic in Canvas, is to bring up this this app and type in a search. Somebody give me a subject area. Just unmute yourself and let me know.
Painting portraits.
I'm sorry?
Portrait painting.
Portrait painting. Of course, that presumes I can spell it. I think I got that right. Oh, this is being recorded too. That would be embarrassing. Aha! I'm relieved. Well, gee, there's only about a gazillion, that's a technical term, of links, videos dealing with portrait painting. Thanks, that's a wonderful one. That's an example we hadn't tried before. So that's pretty cool. Portrait painting. It might take us forever to go through all the options, but we can view any one of these videos just by clicking on the link to it. I'll just take the first one at random. We can play this video.
How's it going? Andrew here, and welcome to another painting video. And in this short video, I'm going to tackle 3.
Don't worry about the lack of lip sync there. That's probably a function of this being filtered through Canvas. So, interesting looking guy. Got a very expensive microphone on there, so maybe he knows something. He appears to have some, assuming these are his pictures, we'll assume that he has some validity there as an author. Obviously, this would require a subject matter expert to evaluate, and I ain't that, especially in portrait painting. So I'm just going to take this one on a flyer. So how do I get this into Canvas to share with my students? Well, it couldn't be much easier. I go to this little menu button here that says Embed, and I can either just pull the link to the video and put that in my emerging Canvas page here. And the link tells you it's from YouTube, but it's basically just a link. I save that. You do get sort of a little embed here. And if you click on the link, though,
let me show you how to create an amazing ad using stock footage.
Of course, you get some ads and things like that. You can't really avoid that on some YouTube videos, but a lot of them don't have this. And usually you only have to watch it for 2 or 3 seconds, so that's not a big deal. But you do get, what is a kind of a big deal to me anyway, is you get all this distracting other video stuff over here on the right. And an ad from YouTube and all this stuff. And this is all, I don't know about you, but all this stuff is probably more interesting than my instructional videos. particularly if there's somebody over here who's young and attractive and not wearing a lot of clothing or something like that. So this is not optimal for an instructional situation. So how can we avoid this sort of thing? Well, let's go back to edit this again. Let's see if we can find that same video again. And I'm going to drop my cursor here below this link by just hitting enter a couple of times. Just a fairly standard text editor here with these other nice little tools that we're going to exercise today. And let's go back to that YouTube link, and we'll search again for, see if I can spell it right again, portrait painting. Well, it remembered that, thank goodness. And press enter. There it is, that's the same one again. The other, if saying I've decided to use that video, the other options I have in this embed menu here are embed, small, medium, and large. So what's the difference between a link and an embed? Well, that's a big part of today's session, so let's see what the difference is. That's an embed. You get a frame picked by YouTube from the video so that it's a fairly attractive presentation of the link to the video, and you get a play button. And if you just click, if the student just clicks on that, let's save this so let me see what the student would actually see. This looks a lot more inviting than that to me. So I think the student's probably more likely to play this. They're more drawn into it. And if they click that play button, the video plays right there.
Andrew here, and welcome to another painting video.
Did you notice something missing there? That advertisement that we got when we went to YouTube and viewed this video is not there. We're just getting the video. That's a good thing to start. Also, we're not seeing all that distracting BS over here on the right. The student is just getting the video. So they're much less likely to be distracted into looking at something else. If the video is not big enough, that's not a problem. The student can make it full screen right from here by clicking on this little icon and then play it.
And in this short video, I'm going to tackle 3 commonly asked questions when it comes to painting portraits.
And then just by pressing escape, they can go back to the embed itself. So, and of course, the students can turn on the captions.
Right.
Okay, we could have figured that out. Of course, the student can jump ahead.
Homogeneous mixture, and then we're going to just add a touch of this to our solvent. Now, just a little bit of that liquid.
So the video is accessible, it's free of distraction, and yet it is still not one of the advantages, of course, to linking videos from YouTube into your course instead of uploading video into Canvas is that linking videos doesn't use up any of the file storage space that you have available in your Canvas shell. And in neither one of these examples here would you use any storage space in Canvas. The video remains on YouTube. It is played from YouTube. When the student clicks on that play button, the video is pulled from YouTube, not from Canvas. And Canvas pays for the storage for that video, they pay for the bandwidth, and you get to use it for free. Ardith, do you have your hand up there? You can just unmute yourself.
Yeah. Can you enlarge it from that size to watch it?
Oh, yeah. Just this button right here we saw a moment ago. If you click on that, it goes full screen. and then press escape and it goes back. So the student can watch it as big as they like. If they insist, they can even go to YouTube and watch it and see all the distractions and so on. You can't stop them from doing that, but you're not going to be putting those in their path deliberately, at least.
Question.
So, pardon?
Question. Is it possible to edit the closed caption?
Possible to what?
Edit the closed captions?
Not if they, only if it's your video. That's a good question. But only if it's your video can you do that easily. There is an alternative technique for editing captions on YouTube for a video that you don't own, that you didn't upload to YouTube. It's extremely tedious and cranky. It uses a site called Amara, A-M-A-R-A, and we used to do a lot of tutorials on that because a few years ago, the captions in YouTube videos were often laughably inaccurate, particularly when it came to things like technical terms or jargon terms in a specific subject area. But that's not really the case much anymore. As you saw in this video here, the captions are quite accurate. It'll miss a word, maybe one in 4 or 5 captions, and then usually it's easily distinguishable what was intended to be there. It's extremely accurate, and almost all YouTube videos are captioned successfully, so the need for things like that is much, much less than it was just a few years ago. If you're interested in that technique, I can certainly refer you to some tutorials on how to do that. Quite frankly, we don't present that in this session anymore because it takes a lot of effort and time to do it, and it's usually just not necessary. But that's a great question. Okay, so we've found and embedded a YouTube video for our students to watch without ever leaving Canvas. That's pretty cool. All right. Just checking my outline over here, make sure I haven't forgotten something. That's a good one. Let's say you don't want to embed a video from YouTube. You want to get it from somewhere else. A very common site for high quality instructional video is TED.com, the famous lecture series attended by the rich and famous and everybody else now. There are just an astounding variety of topics covered in so-called TED Talks, which tend to be 15 to 20 minute presentations, speeches given by experts, in many cases world experts, on just a bewildering variety of topics and subjects. And you can search the TED Talks just as you can YouTube. Indeed, most of the TED Talks are in fact on YouTube. But if you're looking specifically for something of very high quality, like looking specifically for a TED Talk, you may find it easier to search on the TED site because then it's not lost. The TED videos are not lost in the massive amount of content on YouTube. So somebody give me a different subject area, if you would.
Before we do that, could I ask, how did you access TED? There was a link in the Canvas to YouTube. Is there a link?
No, there isn't a link to TED. I just had to bring up a web browser tab and type TED.com in the address line of the browser right there, and then just press enter.
How about health?
Pardon?
How about the topic of health?
Help.
H-E-A-L-T-H?
Oh, health. So, thank you. That's probably not Zoom's audio problem. That's my audio problem. Sorry about that. Health. Whoa. Yeah. Okay, there's a few. This is the problem, really, these days with finding video that you really want to use. It's not that there's not a ton of it out there. It is that there's a ton of it out there, and finding just the best piece for you can take some looking. Well, 3,252 TED Talks.
Oh, there's one. Take charge of your healthcare 10 Talks playlist.
Excellent.
It's about,
Excellent.
You see it?
Yeah. Yeah, so let's bring that one up. That'll be a list of 10 other TED Talks, TED playlists. And this is really timely, obviously. This is pretty good. What makes us get sick? Let's say I'm just going to pick one of these at random, okay? And I click on it to see what it looks like. We do get a little ad there, but it doesn't last long.
For over a decade as a doctor, I've cared for...
All right. We got subtitles in English, Spanish, French, Italian, Chinese, I'm assuming, and 17 other languages. Pretty cool. We've got presumably a very well-known health expert giving this. Works as a doctor in South Central Los Angeles and looking at root causes of morbidity. If we want to share this with our students, we've got this share button here. And the share button gives us a very extensive set of options here. But probably the easiest thing to use right now, and what I'll use to illustrate the concept I'm trying to teach right now, is this link. This is the direct link, the web link, the URL for this video. I just click copy link and close that window and go back to Canvas.
It has transcript, 27 languages too.
It did, didn't it?
That was interesting. Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Dave?
So TED is a wonderful site to pull video from, and unlike YouTube, it's not full of nearly so full of advertising, and it's less likely to be egregiously distracting. So here, though we have the option to embed that video, I'm just going to use this as an example of how to hyperlink a video in. I copied that hyperlink to my, or that URL to my clipboard. Now, to create a link in a Canvas page, all I have to do is provide what's called an anchor, usually a bit of text or a picture. I'll just use a bit of text. How about TED video on health? Obviously, you might make your anchor a little more informative than that, but we're trying to be, I don't want to spend a lot of time on that. Then I just highlight that text that I've typed, and I go to this link to URL button up here in the rich content editor, the second bar, control bar. The little chain link icon is pretty iconic for that. I click on that, and it just asks me to paste in the link to whatever I'm trying to link to, the URL, which is on my clipboard. So I just right-click on a PC and paste, and then click Insert the Link. Now let's save that to look at and see what the student would actually see. Okay, that's not real sexy looking, but it works. If I click on that link, I get taken to the TED page for this video. I can play it. I've got those 22 languages worth of transcripts. I've got subtitles in what, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22 different languages. Terrific, of course, for non-native speakers of English, though the vast majority of the TED Talks are done primarily in English. The transcripts and the captions are there for a large number of languages. So, a marvelous educational resource. And what there were, in this area of health alone, there were over 3,000 TED Talks to choose from. Just, it still boggles my mind.
Dave, could I
yes.
ask you a quick question?
Of course.
I got it about the typing TED video on health. I got highlighting it. I got to go to the second line, you know, and third from the left and clicking on that. But then I could not follow you after that.
Oh, you just click on the link to URL button, and then you get a box into which you paste the URL that you've put on your clipboard.
Oh, okay. And then
click insert link. There's a little button right next to the box labeled insert link, and you just click on that, and that puts that link into the into your Canvas page.
You're pointing to update link. Is that the same thing?
Well, it's saying update link because I've already put the link in.
Oh, I see, but it'll say insert. It'll say insert.
It would say
link.
Insert link if I hadn't yet put that.
Okay, thank you.
You bet. So, works like a charm.
Dave?
Yes.
I missed the part where you're in TED because I was reading something. How do you get that link? Is it the square in the upper right-hand corner?
The one that says share, yeah.
Where is the share button? I guess
right there.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you.
You bet. And of course, there are many other video sites on the web where you can pull up video that you can use in your courses. We categorize some of those, and let me pull up, I don't want to leave this particular page here right now, so let me open a new browser window here and go to something that I want to show to you. What video is one of the most powerful of what are called open educational resources. And we have on our Canvas system and it should be on your dashboard as a faculty member. We've put almost all faculty into this course. If you don't see it, please let me know and I can put you in there. But we have a site at the SDCCD that lists open educational resources, free things you can use with your students. A big part of this site is open textbooks. We've got well over 100 open textbooks in a wide variety of subject areas linked here, things that you can use for free and your students can use for free. But we also have an OER video site page. If you click on any of those links there, you'll see TED as one of them, but Vimeo, of course YouTube, we've already discussed. The Khan Academy is a tremendous site for instructional tutorials of all sorts. And we have our own video repository that we have linked in here. So there's just a bizarre quantity and variety of high quality instructional video on the web. It's just a matter of finding what you want. And that's an effort to give you some head start on that. Ready?
Can I just ask another thing?
Absolutely.
You went to the internet from where? In this box here. I saw you click on something.
Oh, yeah, I just initially, to get to TED, I just added a new tab to my browser.
Oh, so you went up there. I thought you went somewhere at the bottom, so I didn't know.
I also, in order to bring up that online or the Open Educational Resources site, I started a different browser, Firefox. I was using Chrome. I'm using Chrome for most of this, but I started a Firefox window so I wouldn't have to dump out of this page on Canvas.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Just a convenience. I could have just come back to this.
Okay.
It's a little iffy sometimes to open 2 or more browser tabs into the same resource, like into Canvas at the same time. Sometimes the browser gets confused and you get unpredictable results. So it's better if I'm using Chrome primarily, if I want to bring up another look at a different course in Canvas at the same time, it's safer to go to Firefox and bring it up in there, which is what I did. And that was down in my taskbar.
Yeah, that's what got me confused.
Yeah, good questions. Please don't, if there's something that I do that doesn't make sense, or if you can't see something or hear something, please let me know immediately, and I'll do my best to rectify that. All right, we've seen how to embed videos using the little YouTube search tool in Canvas. But what if you don't want to use that for any one of a variety of reasons? Like sometimes that thing, it's a little glitchy sometimes. Sometimes it doesn't work. Let's say you want to embed a video like this, and you want to do it more manually. Or perhaps you want to embed a video from a site other than YouTube. Like that TED video that we just brought up. The TED video had, if I went to the share button, also gave me an option to get what's called an embed code for the video rather than just a simple link. If I click on that option in the share box on the TED site, I get this embed code, which looks like Greek. It's worse, it's HTML, hypertext markup language. You don't have to worry about the nature of that embed code. You just click this button here that says copy embed code, and that puts that embed code on your clipboard. Then you just close this again and go back to Canvas, to your Canvas page. And to embed that TED video, instead of just linking to it like we did here, we use the Insert Edit Media tool, which is the second one from the left in the second line of the second toolbar in the Rich Content Editor. It looks like a little film frame with a play button in the middle of it. If you click on that, you have an option to embed this video using this Embed tab here in the Insert Edit Media tool. And you just paste that embed code you just copied from TED into this. Again, it's pretty intimidating looking if you're not a coder, which I haven't done much with that for a long time. I understand this, but it's not something that everybody's going to be comfortable with. You don't have to be. You just paste it into that box, assume it's right, and click OK. And if it works, you're golden. Yep, it worked. And there's the embed of that video. Looks pretty good. It looks a lot cooler than this little link here. But yet it is basically just a link. Again, we're not copying that video into Canvas from the TED site. We're just linking to it, and we're linking, but the link anchor is a lot sexier looking, in his case anyway. Wouldn't be if I was giving the talk, but it's a lot sexier looking than the link here. Yes?
Is there any way that students can change the language from here?
When they're playing it, yes. They play the video. They have this little button right here.
For over a decade as a doctor, I've cared for homeless veterans, for working class families. I've cared for people who live and work in conditions.
And there were...
The button that you activated.
I'm sorry?
I couldn't see the button that you activated. It is too low in the screen.
Let me see if I can
If you could repeat it, but if you can bring it a bit higher, please.
Let me bring that a little higher. How's that?
Thank you.
It's right there.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay. And there we've got, I don't know, quite a few languages. Not every day you see captions in Marathi. So the options are amazing. And this is true, of course, in YouTube as well. Indeed, let's see how you do this same thing if you're in YouTube, if you've got a YouTube video, because there's something I want to show there that I've already got questions about. Yes?
In the rich text box, the second one in on the second line, what you called that something, it was an insert?
Yeah, if you mouse over it, it's labeled the Insert/Edit Media tool.
Okay, thank you.
You bet. So, how do we do the same thing in with a YouTube video? Whoops. Didn't mean to go down that far. There we go. That's easily done. Let's go back to YouTube. And let's find us a video of some... We don't have to search for YouTube videos through that very convenient little button in the rich content editor in Canvas. We can go straight to YouTube and search there just as easily. But I'm gonna pull up one of my videos. I do that if I'm logged into YouTube. And if you have a Google account, you have a YouTube account. It's the same thing. Your Google account gives you access to any of Google's resources, products, or sites that you can use. So if you use Gmail or Google Docs or any other Google service on a regular basis, Google Maps, you have a Google account, and that means you also have a YouTube account. So when you go to YouTube, you can sign in with your Google credentials and then click on this little round icon in the upper right-hand corner of the YouTube page, which might have a picture of you in it, or it might not, depending on whether you've uploaded a profile picture to Google or not. You click on that little icon in the upper right, and you can go to YouTube Studio. And this is assuming you have videos on YouTube. I can go to my YouTube Studio, and then over here on the left to my video list, and it will show me all the videos that I have on YouTube. Whoops. Looks like I goofed there the last time I uploaded something. That's embarrassing. I'll fix that later. Don't know what might have happened there. All right, I'll just pick a video at random here. Okay. It's time for stupid pet videos. I'll select this video. I'll go to the video page for this video in YouTube. And I will go to the share button, which is always found below and to the right of the video frame in YouTube. This is true even if it's not your video. Any video that's uploaded to YouTube can be shared in the way I'm about to show you with your students. Just so happens this is one I uploaded. I click share and I get a box that looks a lot like that box that I got on the TED website. When I click share, I get the URL, the link to the video, but I also get an embed option here, which I can click. I can also automatically share the video on a variety of social media sites if you like, but we're talking about getting it into Canvas here. So I'm going to click the embed tool, and I get an embed code very similar to the one that you saw earlier. Uses a different set of tags in HTML, but it works about the same way. And I can get this embed code on my clipboard just by hitting the copy button here. That highlights it and copies it to my clipboard automatically. Now I go back to Canvas and I do basically exactly the same thing that I did for the TED video. I click on this Insert Edit Media tool. I click Embed, and I paste the embed code in here. And click OK. And here we go. Who says you can't teach an old dog new tricks? Okay, great. But at the end of the video, this stuff pops up here. I don't want my students seeing just random YouTube videos at the end of my video. What can I do about that? Well, I can do something about that. No, I don't want to page through those. I can do something about that when I embed a video by, let me go back to my edit tool and edit this page.
This is after you've already embedded it?
Actually, I'm going to do this. I could do that, but I'm going to show you from scratch. I would normally do this while I was embedding it. Okay, so let me embed this video again. Go through the same process that I did before, paste that embed code in, and now I am going, in order to prevent those suggested videos from showing up, I'm going to have to make a very small change to this embed code. I still don't have to understand how the embed code works. I just have to know what to put in. I need to add a few characters to this. And I need to know what to add and where to put them. And I do have a tutorial for this on that video, on-demand video website I mentioned earlier. I'll show you that again here in a second. But that goes through exactly what I'm telling you right now. But I look in the embed code for the URL for the video. That's pretty recognizable because it starts HTTPS and it goes on down until I see a quote mark right after this, right before the frame border tag and just after the end of the URL, right there. Let's see, can I blow this up a little bit for you? Yeah, I can. This will make it a little easier to see. I put my cursor right at the end of the URL, just before the trailing quote mark. And I type in the following magic incantation. Remember, any sufficiently advanced video or technology is indistinguishable from magic. So we have to type the right incantation, which is a question mark, the lowercase letters R, E, L, an equal sign, and a 0, not an O, but a 0. And click OK. That's going to embed this video again, but watch what happens. Let me save this. Let me back out on the magnification there so we can see it. Save it. All right, I've got 2 instances of that video here, 2 embeds. You saw what happened at the end of this one when I played it. Now watch this. Not necessarily the stupid dog eating the spaghetti. No suggested videos. So that's how you avoid the suggested videos. At this point, by embedding this video into a Canvas page and eliminating those suggested videos, you have totally eliminated the typical distractions that students are presented with when you use YouTube to share videos with them. This makes YouTube a much more attractive tool for you to use to put your own videos on. And it's it just works better instructionally. And it eliminates the major objection that most people have to using YouTube, which is all those distractions. I do have a tutorial for this. You can find it on our on-demand video site, which is linked, among other places, to the Canvas Help button. But the easiest way to get to it is to just open up a web browser tab or window and type sdccdolvid.org. That's our video domain. Let me put that into the, oh darn. Nick, thanks for that suggestion on a topic. I wish I'd done photosynthesis. I used to know how that worked. I used to teach biochemistry. All right, pretty important process. None of us would be here without it. All righty, let me put that URL into the chat tool. sdccdolvid.org. That's our on-demand video tutorial site at the district. That's in the bottom of the chat tool. Remember, you can save that chat log at any time. And if I type that in the location line on my web browser and just press enter, I go to the site. And if I type YouTube, I get all sorts of tutorials on how to use YouTube in the search box in the middle of the page, middle of the opening page. There's a search box on the right. You type YouTube, and here we go. Prevent suggested videos from appearing in YouTube videos that you've embedded into Canvas. You just click there and play that video, which is also stored on YouTube. It's not stored on this site. This is just an access menu, if you will, for our tutorial videos, which are almost all stored on YouTube. And you just click there and play it. And it will show you just exactly what I just showed you and illustrate how to avoid those distracting suggested videos, which was one of the first questions put into the chat tool over here, so I can check that one off too. Very good. There's one other brilliant repository of instructional video that you all have access to by virtue of working for the San Diego community.
For a second and ask a question?
You certainly may.
Can you just repeat the code, $REL equals 0?
That is correct. It is, the code is lowercase REL =, and a 0 with no spaces. And that has to go right at the end of the video URL inside the quote mark that follows it. And again, you can get that from this tutorial. You can see it clearly in this tutorial. But $REL = 0 is the magic incantation.
So I think I missed how you got to the on-demand at SDCCD. I got the whole olvid.org, and then
that's it. I just pressed enter
right away.
I just typed that into the location line on the web browser and pressed enter, and that brought up the home page of the site. And then I just went to the search box here. You can always go to, in this top menu up here, you can go to all resources and work your way through it, but you can search. And since this is a YouTube subject matter, this is YouTube subject matter, I can just type YouTube and press enter, and then it'll give you a whole slew of 10 pages of tutorials that mention YouTube. But here's the one about suggested videos. You could also include the word suggested, and that would get you right to it.
Okay.
So that's how you use this site. You bet. That's a good question. Oh, here's a great question. And the chat tool just caught my eye. Before I go on to talk about another site that you can pull videos from, I'm going to take this question. Can you take clips from a DVD? Well, maybe. Technically, yes. It's not that difficult to do what's called rip a DVD. It is a lot more complicated than just looking up a video on YouTube or TED.com or whatever, or somewhere else on the internet. But it is possible to rip tracks or rip videos off of a DVD. You can buy software to do that, which is published in countries that have weak copyright laws and so on, like Canada. And so the process is not that difficult to do, but it's somewhat fraught with copyright concerns. Ripping the video off the DVD used to be just by itself a copyright violation. But that has not been the case for several years due to certain guidance provided by the Copyright Office. As long as you plan on using the video for criticism, parody, or education are 3 of the allowed uses. So that just ripping a video off a DVD is no longer an immediate crime anyway. But then using that if you were then to take that video and play it in your physical classroom, you'd be pretty much fine. But putting it online is a little bit more scary, because you don't have the same rights to use copyrighted material in an online classroom that you do in a physical one. That was negotiated when the Copyright Act was last updated around the end of the last century. And that's still in effect. You can't really legally put that video up and say embed that video into your Canvas course, or link it into your Canvas course, or upload it into Canvas, more likely in this case, because you couldn't put it on YouTube. I'll explain why in a minute, but that is a possible copyright violation. I say possible because there are concepts like fair use, which can allow you to use a copyrighted work for educational purposes as long as you do not, without the permission of the copyright holder, as long as you do not cost the copyright holder money. Basically, it's a lot more complex than that, but that's the basic intent of the regulations surrounding fair use of copyrighted material for educational purposes, is that you don't cost the copyright holder money by making it possible for someone not to buy their work and still see part of it. Also, you typically would not be able to show the entire work. And there are a lot of other wickets. I'm not a copyright lawyer or a copyright expert. I've had some contact with copyright law over the years, but I'll just say that's fraught with potential problems. Are you going to get caught if you rip a video off a DVD and upload it to Canvas and share it with your students that way, and nobody but your students can ever see it, which is another stipulation for claiming fair use? Probably not. But the consequences of being wrong about that are pretty high. I think an individual violation can cost you as much as $35,000. Oh. Yeah, that's a frightening number, isn't it? So is it a good idea to rip a track off a DVD and use it? I would say you would have to have a really good reason and have no other option for getting that video. And I'm about to show you another option that might well provide it to you.
Could I ask a related question before we move on?
You certainly may.
Thank you. It's more problematic if we put it on Canvas, but we can show a passage from a DVD using screen share on Zoom, can we not? So if I'm teaching an introduction class and I want to show them a small scene from the end of The Godfather, I can put that on into the disk into my computer and show them that scene using screen share on Zoom.
Right. You can, technically, that's quite easy to do, as long as you remember to click that button that says share your computer sound.
Right.
It's not strictly legal to do that. You can do it legally in your physical classroom.
But not
online.
Okay.
But I'm going to pause the recording for a moment. Resume. Okay, so you may not put copyrighted video on YouTube either, or they will flag it and penalize you. So ripping tracks off a DVD is probably not a good idea. I got another question. If I'm showing a video through Zoom and record the class and publish it on YouTube, then it may not be allowed. Yes, that's correct. If you're playing a copyrighted video during a Zoom session, it's quite likely that YouTube will catch that and flag it. Not a guarantee, but quite possibly. And that's unfortunately the world we live in vis-a-vis video. You have to be careful about copyright when you're putting video online. That's why it's always safer to use a site like YouTube or TED or Vimeo or the one I'm about to show you, where they have paid already for or they have ensured that the video that you're using is not copyrighted or is not copyrighted, or they have paid the copyright holder for the use of it already and you don't have to worry about it. But creating a video that might contain some copyrighted content, a song or a video, a bit of a video, or something ripped off a DVD, and then trying to put that onto YouTube is not a good idea. The site I keep referring to, let's go back to Canvas here, to our video sample page. There's another video site that I am given to understand that all of you at Miramar, Mesa, and City should have access to, is called Films on Demand. It's a huge film repository subscribed to by your libraries and made available to you. And it is something you can use, and it does provide you content that is copyright cleared, where the copyright fees have been, the licensing fees have been paid, so that you can use it in your online courses. And you can use it very similarly to the way that we used YouTube a little bit ago. Let me go to the edit here and edit this page. Let's drop down, get a whoop, that's not what I wanted to do. Let's get ourselves a clear cursor here so we can see what we're about to embed. You can go, rather than to the YouTube icon in the rich content editor, you can go to this More External Tools icon, the blue V. Let me blow that up a little bit so you can see it a little better. That one right there, More External Tools. If you are in, if your course is created in one of these, in the sub accounts we call it, for one of these colleges, you get access to Vimeo, but which is something like YouTube, only a little higher class. And but the one I want to show you is Films on Demand. This again is provided through your library. If you click on that, you get a tool that looks a lot like the YouTube search tool, and you can search by keyword or phrase for videos of just bewildering variety. We've got that wonderful suggestion that I got earlier in the chat tool for a topic, photosynthesis. Process without which none of us would be here. The ultimate source of all organic compounds on the planet. I just click search, and whoa, doesn't tell me, yeah, 520 hits in Films on Demand on photosynthesis. And this is all pretty decent quality content. This is a lot more vetting goes on before something goes on Films on Demand than in YouTube. So let's just try, oh, this looks like a good general video, though it's 23 minutes long, oh my God. Using animation photomicrography illustrates the essential steps of photosynthesis. I'm sold. I can preview the video if I like, but I'm not going to take the time right this minute. We're running right along on our time here. So we've got an embed link, very similar to the one we had in the YouTube search tool. We just click on that, and we can embed, we can get the link, or we can embed small, medium, and large. Let's just do medium. And that's all there is to it. Bam, there's that video. Right below the stupid pet videos. And if I save,
so if you're not on Canvas and you want to just look at it ahead, for example, how do you get to Films on Demand? Is it a website?
You can get to Films on Demand through your library website as well. But it's probably easier to do it in Canvas.
Yeah, right, exactly.
And there's the photosynthesis video. Close caption.
This tree has grown from a tiny seed to stand almost 100 metres tall. To build such a massive structure requires the production of tons of organic material, and it needs a vast amount of energy.
I just want to turn it off.
So,
Yes.
so how did you get the captions? Was it the far right bottom?
No, a little CC button down here in the control bar.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, that, and your hearing impaired students will know all about that. You don't have to tell them about it.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Dave, what about the size of the embeds? If you do multiple ones of those, it really sucks up the screen for a big distance.
Well, you could have made it smaller, or you could do just a link.
Well, that's what I had to choose. I had to put a whole lot of them on a site because there were tiny topics.
You could just do a link like this.
Okay,
but remember, if you link to YouTube, they're going to get all the advertising and everything.
Yeah,
But
there
yes,
were no extra videos on that.
I'm sorry.
There were no extra ones on that, and extra videos.
Not on no, certainly not on Films on Demand, because they don't do that. But YouTube, yes, you will get, if you link to, if you embed something from YouTube, or if you just link to something on YouTube, that takes the student to the YouTube site itself, and they get all the advertising. So, and all the suggestions and all of that. So it's highly, to me, it's highly preferable when I'm using YouTube video in a Canvas page to embed it rather than link it. Okay. And you can do more complicated things too, like create a table and put the videos and embed them small and put them in a table so that they're more compact and they don't take up as much, there's not as much scrolling up and down. That's probably a little beyond what I want to get into right now because we've got other things we need to talk about. But I can illustrate that later if you're interested. Something that would be kind of in between just linking to it, to a video, and putting these full-sized embeds in a Canvas page. I just like the big ones. I just like the big ones because they look so cool.
Hey, Dave, how do you get rid of, how do you delete it?
How do you delete a video? Yeah, that's not real obvious, how to delete a video from your your Canvas page that you're creating. What you do is go find the video you want. Like I don't need this one here that has the suggested videos at the end of it and so on. The only thing I've found that works reliably is to get over to the right of the video, move your cursor, mouse cursor over to the right of the video, click and hold the mouse button and swipe across the video. And then press the delete or the backspace key if you're on a Mac, and that will take it out.
Press the which key on a Mac?
Delete, the backspace key, the upper right-hand corner, backspace. On a PC, you'd press the delete key normally. But the Mac doesn't have a delete key. Didn't used to anyway. Not that I know much about Macs, but
actually it does now. It does.
It does now? Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay. That's better. That was certainly always a lack, I felt. So the delete key should work.
Yeah.
All right.
So you copy and then delete, correct?
I'm sorry? Well, you don't copy. You just swipe across, click and drag across it to select it.
Right.
And then you press the delete key. But you can't see that it's been selected. You just have to take that on faith and press the delete key.
Okay. All right, thanks.
All right. Nick, you don't see Films on Demand under More External Tools. Are you in a development shell by any chance? That's a good question.
Yes,
this
I'm
is the
using
first.
development shell.
Yeah, you may not see it in your development shell, unfortunately. We're trying to deal with that right now. If you will send me an email to that effect, I'll see if I can fix that for you.
All right, it's not necessary. I can just do it in my regular classes.
Okay, yeah, but you should be able to do it in your regular shells.
All right.
It's because of where the shells, it's because of the sub-account that the shells are associated with in Canvas. It's something we've been dealing with over the last few weeks on this. This is the first time I've presented Films on Demand in one of these adding video sessions for that reason. We've just kind of got it where it works for everybody. So, but it is a marvelous resource. There's just a ton of stuff on there. And in general, the instructional content is higher quality than what you'll find on YouTube or Vimeo or even TED. It's really good stuff, professionally produced stuff in most cases. So,
does it have?
Yes.
Can you tell how long they are, or you have to actually?
Yes, it tells you how long they are.
That's good.
An important consideration. when you remember that after 7 minutes in on an instructional video, you've lost most of your viewers. That's kind of a frightening statistic. So keep your videos short where you can.
Yeah.
Unlike these Zoom sessions.
Dave? Dave?
Yes. Yes.
Somebody in the chat mentioned Swank digital campus videos. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Let me see.
That was me, Dave.
Yes.
Yeah, that's me, Sandra. Yeah, each of the libraries, again, it's another database, just like Films on Demand. And we have access to Swank, and that's about 300 Hollywood movies.
Oh, wow.
And it's a little bit different with the linking. You'd have to use a URL. I don't think it has embedding capabilities.
And you'd have to access that through the library website rather than through Canvas.
Right, you would access the URL, but I think you could put in the URL into your Canvas.
Oh, yeah. Then you'd be able to put the link into Canvas.
Right, I don't think they have an embedded player. That's the thing.
But this is only for Hollywood movies?
There are 300, yes, and they were pretty much selected by the faculty a couple of years ago. We've been trying to update them as the licensing drops out. And by the way, that's true of any of the licensed videos. So for Films on Demand or Swank, sometimes the companies lose access to the videos. So as a matter of course, it's a good thing to check before your courses start whether those links still work. And that's true of any database, really. I mean, articles can drop out, books can drop out, videos can drop out. So just something.
Does anyone know about PBS videos? Do we have access to those?
PBS, some of the PBS videos are in Films on Demand. Films on Demand has a number of different distributors in it.
Educational videos, yeah. Okay.
Yes. Oh yeah, Films on Demand is educational videos, but not of the bygone days where they were just like Wild Kingdom. We're talking about History Channel, HBO, PBS. There's a lot of really good stuff in there. There's tens of thousands of videos in Films on Demand.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
That is thank you so much, Sandra. That's a tremendous addition to this presentation. And Sandra was the one who suggested I do that and gave me the information I needed. So thank you so much.
You're welcome.
One side note on Swank, I believe they post, how long it will remain on Swank before their licensing goes out. So it'll say January 2021, and you'll be able to use it until that time. And you can just send your students through the library itself. They can access that through the library and watch the films at home on their own.
Yes.
But you could also, of course, take the access URL and put it into your Canvas course and eliminate that step for them. We've seen how to do that in a Canvas page, but you don't necessarily have to link videos into a Canvas page. If you're going to do the embed, yes, you do. And if you want to get rid of the distracting content in YouTube and the suggested videos and so on, you have to embed the video into a Canvas page. But it's quite possible just to go into one of your modules And let me just create them. This is a blank course that I made for this session. So let me just make a module here. Just call it video demo module. And I'll add to that module, I can add to that module, and what's called an external URL, or a web link, as it's sometimes called, a link to something outside of Canvas on the World Wide Web. Then I could go to, say, this TED Talk that we were looking at before. I can go to the share button. I can get not the embed code, but the actual, I don't want a recommendation. I just want the link. Let's see, how do I clear that? I don't use TED that often. Let's see, link, there it is. I just copy the link to my clipboard, the URL, the web address for the video. And I go back to Canvas to where I'm creating an external URL link in a module. And I paste that URL into the URL box. I do have to give the link a name so that the students have something to click on. It's a TED Talk on Health, I believe this was. And it's generally a good idea, if you're linking a video directly into a module via an external URL like this, to load that video in a new browser tab, a new web browser tab or window, depending on the web browser, because the video is much more likely to play without difficulty if you do that. And then you click Add Item. If you now publish both the module and the item to make it visible to students, a student could come in here. This is not real sexy looking, but it works. If they click on that link and then OK a new window, they go right to that TED Talk on the TED website. So that works like a charm as well. And that's how you would handle swank videos, is what I'm hearing from Sandra.
Yeah, you'd have to
and that's a tremendous thing. Chances are pretty good that that last few seconds of the or a few minutes of The Godfather that you're using, Bruce, are on there, and you can point the students to it.
Dave, could you go back a couple seconds? I didn't catch that process.
We just add to a module. We go to the Add button on the module, select External URL as the item to add, put the URL for the video into the box labeled URL by just pasting it in, and then give it a name. And load it in a new tab, select that option, and click Add Item.
What makes it external? The fact that it's not YouTube?
No, it's not on Canvas.
It's not on Canvas. So YouTube would also be external?
Yeah, you could also make an external link to a YouTube video, just the same way.
Okay.
The disadvantage to that would be the fact that your students would then be exposed to all the distractions, because it would take them right to the YouTube website rather than to a nice clean embed in a Canvas page.
Excuse me?
Yes.
What is the advantage to doing it externally?
As opposed to loading a video onto Canvas, you mean?
Yes.
There are a couple of reasons not to load video directly onto Canvas. One is that Canvas is not designed as a video server. It has limited capability in that regard. And as a result, your students may at times have trouble playing videos that are actually stored on Canvas. Not only that, but if too much of that happens, we get a nasty gram from Instructure, the company that writes Canvas, saying that there's too much media content on there. That's not in your contract. You need to get that off there. or cease doing that, or there will be consequences. More money will be needed. So that's one of the reasons why we don't give you an unlimited amount of storage in your Canvas shells, because there would be a lot more video uploaded.
And do we need to add that question mark reg 0?
That would only be if you were embedding a YouTube video into a Canvas page.
Okay.
That's the only place that comes into play.
So normally we should normally try to do it externally.
Indeed, you want to store your video externally, because there are places like YouTube where it's free to do so, or the Zoom cloud. You can store video for free. Video that you create by recording Zoom sessions, it can be stored for free on the Zoom cloud. And that, again, doesn't take up any of the file storage space, doesn't use any of the bandwidth for Canvas. It doesn't cost anything. Well, it's the state chancellor's office is paying for it for you. So you want to put your video on external sites and not load it into Canvas. And toward that end, we've given you a limited amount of storage space in Canvas. If you were to put large numbers of videos upload large numbers of videos into your Canvas shell, you would very quickly run out of file space in your Canvas shell. And the final reason that we don't want people doing that is that video that is uploaded directly into Canvas is very likely not to be captioned. There's really no way, unless the captions are burned into the video, is what are called open captions. The chances are the video is not captioned, and that is a major no-no for us in online education at the district. Federal and state law and local state regulation and local policies all prohibit putting video up that's not captioned.
I don't know if this is apropos, but I just learned today that the new Google Meet does fabulous things with captioning, closed captioning, everything.
In real time?
Yes.
Yeah, I had heard that was coming. That is something that Zoom is working on as well. As a matter of fact, there is a capability, an interface for Zoom that will do that through a partnership with a company called Otter. But it's not available to us in our Confer Zoom accounts. And I don't know if it will be because it costs more. It costs extra to have that. And I haven't heard one way or another whether that might be happening or not.
The Meet and
but
Google.
Zoom also has that capability, but we don't currently have access to it.
Meet is doing it for free.
Yeah, that's what I hear. So that's very interesting. It makes Meet a very attractive option, especially if you have hearing impaired students in your class. Thanks for bringing that up. Yes.
Yeah, can the embed code be changed in YouTube sharing mode?
No, if the student goes to YouTube, they're going to get those suggested videos no matter what.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thanks.
Good question.
Dave, I'm a little confused about the term embed and storing. If you embed the video, like if you go back to that page where is that being stored in Canvas?
No. Good question. No, it is not. These embeds are just fancy links. Oh. There's no significant amount of storage being used for them in Canvas. The video is still stored on YouTube or TED or Films on Demand or wherever. And they're serving it from their servers, not from our Canvas server. This is just a fancy link.
So how would we store it in Canvas? I just wanted to.
I'm not sure I even want to go there. Because we really don't want you to do that. You could upload the file to Canvas through the Files tool.
Okay, but we don't need to do that.
No, we would much prefer you did not do that.
Okay, all right.
There's really no need for you to handle video that way. And I'm just going to stop right there. I was about, my lips were about to get me in trouble. I'm going to stop right there. Not for the first time in my life. Okay. Great questions, folks. Thank you so much for all this. That's the best part of these sessions. Absolutely. Okay, now let me see where I am in my, yes. I just want to say a little bit now that we've kind of covered a lot of the material about finding video and getting it into Canvas so your students can view it, which was the primary purpose of this session. I want to talk a little bit about creating your own video and try to encourage you on that. Because these days, with the tools that we have available, creating your own video is generally free, very easy to do, and very, very useful in an online course. Your students would much rather view your videos than some slickly produced thing you find on YouTube or Films on Demand, because let's face it, you're the one who's grading them. You're the one who's writing the tests. Your videos, by definition, have a lot more credibility and a lot more value to your students. It's also a great way to build rapport with your students, engagement with your students. They care about getting to know you as a person. And this is something that's so seldom, or that used to happen so seldom in standard asynchronous online courses, where all the students did was go in and read a ton of stuff and do homework assignments and take tests and things like that. And in many cases, they never really had an idea whether their instructor was a human being, a live human being. For all I know, you'd written the course and passed on years ago, and the school was still using it. Not that the district would do that, but the students might think that. And that lack of connection between the students and the instructor is a major contributor to the sense of psychological isolation that students in online courses often feel. So that if you make your own video, you put yourself into your online course. It's the term most commonly used now is humanizing your online course. That's a major factor in humanizing your online course. Convincing your students that you are a living, breathing, caring human being that's really involved, engaged in teaching your students, as opposed to just running your course on autopilot and they never even see a picture of you. I know that sounds awful, but trust me, I've seen enough online courses where that was true to know that it is something that does happen. Obviously not something we'd like to see happen, but it does happen. You can do so much to avoid that sort of situation by creating your own video. And it's just not difficult to do anymore. I'm creating an instructional video for people who are not in this session or people who may want to come back and rewatch something right now. And all I had to do was, when I started my Zoom session, I hit the record button. Zoom records your webcam. If I'm not sharing my screen and I'm just talking to you, and somebody remind me if I start trying to show you something on a shared screen and I haven't shared my screen. That's another bad habit of mine. I would appreciate a heads up on that. Now I'm sitting here just talking to you. Zoom is recording what's on my screen. Actually, what I have up is the gallery view, so it's recording all of us. And people will be able to come in who have access to that on-demand video site and view this later. I'm creating an instructional video as I'm speaking. And right now,
attendance?
I'm sorry?
Is that how it takes attendance?
That's all it takes. This is a live session, so we're all here, but you can start a Zoom session with no one else in it and record it and create an instructional video that way. And that video can include your webcam or you're talking to your students. Just remember your students are right there in the webcam, because it really makes a difference if you make eye contact with them.
Dave?
And I'm not always perfect at that myself. Yes.
When we record our Zoom sessions, do we need some kind of an authorization from students in order to record them?
If you're recording students, you do need to warn them that you are recording. And Zoom will do that for you, but it's considered polite to, you know, I mentioned when I was starting this recording that I was doing so. And if you are recording students, in order to be good with FERPA, you want to be very careful that any video recordings that you make are accessible only to the students in that course. So if you put the video onto YouTube, say, you want to make sure the visibility on YouTube is unlisted, so that no one without the link can view it, find it, or view it. The students, you know, can see one another in a physical classroom. So it's no surprise to them that, well, Jane over here is in this class. Okay, you can't prevent them from knowing that. So as long as only your students have access to the video, you're okay in that regard. But I would for sure not post that video publicly, because that would be a FERPA violation. Yes.
Excuse me? Yes, couldn't you just push the, you know, eliminate everybody's picture and you wouldn't have to worry about it?
You could do that, or you can do what's called spotlighting your own video. If you're in gallery view, as I am right now, you will see yourself there along with everybody else. And you can move your mouse, and I can't show you this, unfortunately, because Zoom won't share this sort of thing, but I can just describe it. You can move your mouse cursor over your video window in gallery view and either right-click or command-click on a Mac, and you'll get a little context menu. And one of the options on that menu is to spotlight your video. And if you do that, your video goes full screen, and the students, there's still a few of the students up above your video, but only a few of them. So you minimize any issues with that anyway. I just spotlighted myself. So now people are getting a really big video image of me, which is not good for anyone's digestion, but I guess we'll get along. Oh, and I just went blurry besides when my webcam refocused. But that's one thing you can do to minimize that possibility as well.
So
Good
Dave,
question.
I have a question. So I don't have to have students on the Zoom. I can
You
go
do
on,
not.
I can record myself like teaching like I normally teach. I can screen share.
Yes.
My
Yes.
presentation tool from the textbook.
Keep going.
Then record that and then somehow get it on campus. That would be my question. I recorded.
How do you do that? Yeah.
Well, what she said. I don't need to say that again. That was perfect, Marlene. Thank you. Exactly. You don't have to be in a live session with other people to record video on Zoom. Okay. You
Where
can.
does it go and how do you access it? Where does the video go and how do you access it?
what next? What happens next? That's where I was going next.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, in Zoom, there are two options for recording. And let me get rid of this. I've got one of my lights too close to my green screen here. Excuse me. When I spotlighted that video, that got irritating. There, that's better. You have two options to record in Zoom, to the local computer or to the cloud, the Zoom cloud. The Zoom cloud is easy. You just say, when you hit the record button, if you don't get an option, if it just starts the recording, then you're recording to the Zoom cloud.
Yeah.
And that's the default behavior in these Confer Zoom accounts. If you go and you adjust your settings, your Zoom account settings, you can also get an option to record to your local computer. That involves a little more effort on your part, but you can then put the videos on YouTube. So it's a matter of personal taste more than anything else. I like to record to my local computer and put them on YouTube because I maintain more control over them that way. And if I say something like I did earlier, talking about copyright and saying things that I didn't want recorded, if I forget to pause the recording, I can take that video that's stored on my local computer and I can edit that out and before I put it online. So there are a variety of reasons, but the Zoom Cloud works great too. So let me show you how that works first, and then I'll show you how to record to your local computer and how to get it on YouTube. And I have tutorials already made for both of these, so you don't have to get everything down right now. I'll show you where the tutorials are so you can look at it again. So let's say I've finished this session and I've ended the session. If you've recorded to the Zoom Cloud, the recording automatically is uploaded to your Zoom Cloud. It's being uploaded even while you're making it. So how do you find it and how do you share it with your students? Let's see, I need to share my screen.
District email?
Indeed, the Zoom Cloud will send you an email, and which will contain the link to the video. And you can then just put that link into Canvas in the same way that we saw here with these web links, these external links. Just be very sure, if you're doing that with a Zoom video, that you click this option to load in a new tab. Otherwise, it won't play inside the Canvas window. That's kind of a negative with the Zoom Cloud, but it's easily enough dealt with. What you can't do if you've uploaded the video to the Zoom Cloud is
Edit?
Embed it. You can't embed it into a Canvas page, or I know of no way to do that. Well, let's say if you were an HTML wizard, you could do that. But it's not something that's going to be convenient. So you're probably going to be limited to putting links to your Zoom recordings in your modules as external URLs, but that's fine. That works fine. If you lose that email or miss it or something, you can still find your Zoom videos. You just go to Zoom, you web to zoom.us, open up a web browser window. On the address line, type ZOOM.US and press enter. That will take you to the Zoom website. You can sign in with the credentials provided to you by CCC Confer Zoom. And this is where you can set your Zoom options, your Zoom account options. also where you can start meetings from here. You can view, you can hold, rather, you can also find recordings that have been sent to the Zoom cloud. Over here on the left side, there's a menu, and one of the options in that menu is recordings. You click on the word recordings, and here are the recordings that I have on the Zoom meeting recordings I have on the Zoom cloud. I can play a video from here by just clicking on the link to it and then clicking the little icon there, and there's the video. And up it goes. We're now recording. And welcome. And you get transcript, you get closed captions, just as you do in YouTube. And they're quite good. And these happen automatically. You don't have to create them, the captions, that is. You can share the video. You can get the share URL for the video by clicking this button here. And you, instead of just clicking, I'm sorry?
Where did you find the share this cloud recording? What did you click?
Right here. Share button.
Oh, I see it. Okay.
Yeah. And you got to be a little careful here. Don't just click copy sharing information to clipboard. Display detailed information, because you want just this part of that message, the URL itself. If you take the rest of this stuff and try to paste this into Canvas, Canvas will spit up all over you.
Yeah.
Ask me how I know that. Bar towel. So you just copy this to your clipboard, then tell it you're done, go back to Canvas, add an external URL to the appropriate module, paste that URL into the URL box. This is, we'll call this, and I have to give it a name, video from Zoom Cloud. You would obviously make it somewhat more informative. And you must, in this case, click load in a new tab. If you don't, it won't work. Then you click add item. That link is added to the module. If you publish it, your students will be able to click on that link and go right to, once they okay a new window, they'll be able to go right to that video, just as you did by logging into the Zoom cloud or into your Zoom account.
So Dave,
yes. Mm-hmm.
You go.
Sorry?
Oh, so this is like, I was gonna, I'm learning from other people that at the beginning of every module, I heard somebody said they do a video introduction. So this would be a way of doing a video introduction to the module.
Absolutely. And that's a wonderful pedagogy, yes, to start every module with a little message to your students about what they're going to be doing in the module, what you expect of them, what the assessments will be, and so on. They like to hear that. It restores a lot of that personal touch that you lost when you left the classroom. So that's a great idea.
Have to follow this process with each video we record?
Yes. You mean in terms of putting it into Canvas?
Yes.
Yes.
I couldn't hear the question.
Would want to put this onto our module.
Would you have to do this every time with every video that you created? Yes. There is, I will mention one other way to access these videos from the Zoom cloud, and that is if you use the Confer Zoom app in Canvas. And in order to do that, I have to log out and log in as a test instructor here, because my account is not linked to that for a variety of reasons. Let me get this out of this. This is just bookkeeping. Don't worry about it. This has nothing to do with what I'm about to talk about. Okay, now, if you want to, let me find a safe shell to play with here. If you use the Confer Zoom app in Canvas, don't move around on me. Your students can also find your event recordings in the app. I don't have any in this course, but they would appear right here.
Wow.
So that's another way for your students to find your recordings.
If the students are new to Canvas or kind of a level 3 and not too technical, this would be less intuitive, or this is harder?
This is harder. It's a lot easier for them if they just find a link in a module to it.
Yeah.
That's why I don't spend a lot of time teaching the use of that app.
Right. But it's
I don't especially believe in it. So yeah, I would agree with you. It's a lot easier for them if there's just a link there and all they have to do is click on it. They're used to doing that.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't use Facebook otherwise. Or I guess they're not using Facebook. They're using Instagram or whatever, but they'll be familiar with that concept. All right.
Great.
That's the easy way to do it. There are, as I said, there are some drawbacks to the Zoom Cloud. One, you can't embed the video and get that nice, sexy-looking embed in a Canvas page. Another is that you do have a limited amount of storage in the Zoom Cloud. I believe you get 1 gigabyte of video storage in the Zoom Cloud, and that's quite a lot of storage, but eventually you will run out. If you do a lot of Zoom meetings or record a lot of videos in Zoom, eventually you will run out. And you can't get, as far as I know, you can't get any more through the Confer Zoom accounts. So you would be faced with the circumstance of having to go and remove some of the older recordings from your Zoom Cloud storage in order to make room for new ones. And maybe you want those old ones up there for the students to study later and so on. So that can be a problem. That's another reason why I prefer to record to the local computer and then put the recordings up on YouTube. I can't run out of space on YouTube. And YouTube, like Zoom, the Zoom Cloud, is free. And YouTube is free to everyone. We are right at the 4 o'clock hour, and that I've covered most everything I wanted to cover on my outline, but I got a feeling that some people are interested. Are any of you interested in seeing me go through the process of recording putting a Zoom recording that was recorded locally up onto YouTube?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I'm hearing quite a lot of yeses on that. So I'm going to do that. I apologize for being past 4 o'clock, but I've also promised I won't leave until I've answered all your questions. So I'm going to take that. Yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
Not at all.
I understand though that a negative of using a Zoom video is that it doesn't close caption automatically.
Oh no! If you if you upload it to the Zoom Cloud, it will be captioned automatically. Okay. Or if you upload it to YouTube, it will be captioned automatically. Now these are the recordings.
Okay, and which way is better?
The live sessions are not automatically live captioned. But the recordings, if you put them on the Zoom Cloud or on YouTube, will be automatically captioned.
And Zoom Cloud is better than YouTube?
No. In terms of captioning, they're about the same. YouTube is a little better, if anything, because YouTube basically invented the automatic captioning technology. And I suspect that Zoom is licensing that from Google, but I don't know that. But I suspect they are.
Maybe I need to hear again why we are preferring to go to a Zoom? What's the advantage of going to a Zoom cloud recording?
The Zoom cloud, it's easier for you.
Okay, local computer sounds better.
Yeah. Now, how to, what if you've recorded it local? First off, in order to be able to record to your local computer, you probably are going to have to go into your Zoom account settings at zoom.us and sign in, and go to your settings link in your account screens and go to the recording link on the settings page. And the first option under recording settings is allow local recording. This is, well, used to be anyway, when the Zoom, Confer Zoom accounts came, this was turned off. And you can turn it on manually. You just click on this little icon right here. And on is blue, so you know it's on. This is what allows you, or gives you the option to record the Zoom meeting to your local computer. This is the only option you have if say you're using a free Zoom account. That's the only option they give you for recording. In the Confer Zoom accounts, which are pro accounts, this is turned off by default because of the desires of the folks at CCC Confer. But you can change that.
Great.
And you don't have to save that change or anything. You just make the change and it immediately takes effect.
So Dave, if this is on the local recording, does that mean we cannot send our Zoom recording to the iCloud?
No, no.
Oh, you get a choice.
It means you have a choice, exactly. When you hit, if you have set this option to on, when you hit your record button on Zoom in the Zoom menu at the bottom of the screen, you are given a choice, a little menu that says record to local computer or record to cloud. And you can pick either one. So, and what I'm doing right now is recording to my local computer. When I finish this meeting and end the meeting, the recording, which has been getting sent to a temporary storage location on my hard drive, that recording will be processed, rendered is the term, into a smaller format, a compressed video format that's suitable for upload to YouTube or other places automatically. That process starts immediately upon my ending the meeting, and it will run until the video has been prepared for streaming, which is why if you record to your local computer, you usually need to leave your computer on for several minutes at least after the end of the meeting in order for that video to finish rendering. Though if you forget and don't wait long enough, you can always, it will start up again automatically later when you turn the computer on again.
Do you need to do that after?
Yes. I'm sorry?
Do you delete it afterwards once it's uploaded into cloud?
I usually do not. I like to keep the raw recordings or the original recordings on my computer. They don't take up that much space on most modern hard drives. And I don't, as an old video guy, you never throw away your master. You never throw away the original recording. You never know when you might need it.
I guess you could save it on your external drive.
That is something you can do. You can offload it to an external hard drive. But this computer I'm working on, which is just a modest computer by today's standards, has a 2 terabyte hard drive in it, 2,000 gigabytes of hard drive storage. And these videos, while they're large files, they're tiny by comparison to that. So I can record Zoom videos, not to put too fine a point on it, I record Zoom videos for the rest of my life and probably never fill up this hard drive. So, but that would vary from situation to situation. So I usually just leave them where they are. And where do they go is the next question. How do you find them? Let me share my screen to show you that. I'm going to bring up Windows Explorer. You could bring up on your Mac, you'd bring up the Finder. And let me pull that over here. Come on. Behave. There. Sorry, talking to the computer. I don't think it listened. You need to be able to find where those videos were put on your hard drive, and they're always put in the same place. You go to your default documents folder, either on the PC or the Mac, the documents library. This is a PC, a Windows PC. And look for a folder named, a subfolder named Zoom, which is automatically created for you. And just open up that folder and you'll see some number of subfolders under that. This is the last 2 years of my Zoom recordings. So there's a few there. But the most recent recordings should be at the bottom of the screen, if you have a bunch of them. And you can identify which recording is which by the date and time that's included in the name of the folder that contains it. So today's session is being recorded into this folder. Year 2020, month May, day 19th, time 13th, just before 2 o'clock, 24-hour time. That's this one, but this one's not ready yet, so I can't show you that. I can go to the previous one, the one from the 15th, the last one I did before this, and open up that folder. And here are the files that Zoom creates when you record a Zoom session. But the only one you care about is the one labeled Zoom_0. That is the recording for that session. That's the file you want to upload to YouTube. The rest of this, don't worry about it. Well, this is the chat log from that session. This is where you'd find your chat log if you save it. So you can open that up anytime, just a text file. But this is, in terms of sharing this to YouTube, all you care about is the Zoom_0 file. So how do you get that onto YouTube? Well, let's go to YouTube. Let's see. Let's go to the home page here. You do have to be logged in to your YouTube account. Again, if you have a Google account, you have a YouTube account. And click on, actually you don't even, the only thing you need to click on, as long as you're logged in, is click on this little button right here labeled Create. It's a little hard to see. Let me see if I can bump that up a little bit for you. It looks like a little camera with a plus sign inside it, right there. To upload a video to YouTube, once you're logged into YouTube, all you have to do is click on that button and select Upload Video. YouTube then starts an automated process that will lead you through, by the hand, through uploading your video, your Zoom video. First thing you do is select the file that you want to upload. Click on that Select Files button. This opens up another file dialog, a Windows Explorer window, and you got to know where to look for that Zoom video. As I said, it's in your Documents folder, in a folder called Zoom, and you'll be able to identify the particular video you need by the date and time it was done. You open up the folder, the subfolder that contains the Zoom recording, and you select Zoom_0, and you click Open. And that starts the process. We're not going to have time for this process to complete because that's a huge file. And it takes it, for a Zoom recording that's 2 or 3 hours long, it's going to take, 40 to 50 minutes probably for it to upload and be processed by YouTube. So, but I'm going to show you the process you go through from this point onward. First thing you have to do is give it a title. You do not want to leave it as Zoom_0. You may have seen some news articles several weeks ago about how terrible it was that people were able to look up other people's Zoom recordings on the web and find them and play them. It's because the people who put them up on the web didn't change the name of the video, didn't enter this title here. They just left it at Zoom_0. And guess what? Everybody's Zoom recording starts off being named Zoom_0. And there are a gajillion Zoom_0 files out on the web that you can find and play that people never thought you could. But that's not because of a Zoom problem. That's because of a user problem. You got to change this video name. I'll just call this Zoom recording. I don't even, I've actually already uploaded this one, so I don't need to worry about the name. But normally you'd put, like class meeting, date, time, something like that, or exam review, date, time, whatever you did during that Zoom meeting. Or if it's just a video tutorial that you made in Zoom, you'd give it a title that described what it was teaching. Then you click Next. Oh, and there's one other thing you have to do on this first screen, the details screen here, and that's to assure YouTube that no, it's not made for kids. By kids, they mean someone under 13. Your students will be a bit older than that in most cases, so you don't have to worry. If you say, yes, it's made for kids, you got to jump through a bunch of other hoops about ensuring that you're not marketing evil things to children and things like that. So as long as you say, and you can say honestly, no, it's not made for kids. You may have to say that. Usually you only have to say that the first time you upload a video. And it'll remember it from that point on. Then you click Next. This page I never bother with. The second page, video elements, I just skip right past it by clicking Next again. And on the third page, you have to tell YouTube what kind of visibility you want this video to have. You do not want it to be private. Your students will never be able to see it. It's much too restrictive. This is like for family, for baby videos and things like that. No private. You want either unlisted or public. Public means people can search for it and play it. Anybody might find your video. Unlisted means that only the students to whom you give access to the link to this video will be able to play it. And if you give them access to that link within Canvas, only your students will be able to play this video, which is normally what you want. If the video is like if you do a tutorial, and it's something that you think might be useful to people other than your students, and you're okay with it, and there's no confidential information exposed or anything like that, by all means, if you're comfortable with it, make it public. Someone will appreciate it. You will become a video star out in the world, on the World Wide Web, and people appreciate that. I get nice notes all the time from people who have used one of my videos and found it useful. But more often than not, you will say unlisted, particularly if you have students in a meeting and the students' names are displayed or their images are displayed, you do not want to make it public. That would be a FERPA violation by my understanding. So you select your visibility level, and then you just click Save. And your part in this is done for now. You can just close this window and go on about your business, and your video will proceed to upload to YouTube. You can come back here and see how it's doing from time to time if you want to, but there's no need to. It's automatically going to appear in your YouTube account after a certain period of time, and you don't have to do anything else to make that happen. To share this video with your students, you do what we've already seen. Oh, by the way, you're automatically dropped into this videos list when you upload a video, so you don't have to navigate to this separately. It just shows up. So to then share this video with your students, you go through the process that I showed you earlier here with this little video. You click on the video. You can get the video link from the details page for the video details page. It's right here. You can just click this icon and copy the URL for the video to your clipboard, and then go and paste it into Canvas. If you want, say, the embed code, you want to be a little fancier, you have to go to the video on YouTube. And click the share button down in the lower right-hand corner, and go to the embed code, and then copy that. Oops. I'm zoomed in on this. I got to zoom out a little bit so you can see that. There we go. You just hit the copy button, and that puts that embed code on your clipboard. Then you go back to let's go back to that, let me log out here, this mini-me, and log back in as actual me. And find that sandbox I've been using. There it is. And go to my video demo page. Which I haven't linked into my module here. I just noticed. And I can edit this page, and I can do just as I did before. I can go to the bottom here. Come on. Get myself some room. He said this one is being difficult because that embed's too big. Come on. I'll put it up above it. How about that? I'll put it in there. I can embed that video just as I did before by going to the Insert Edit Media tool, selecting the Embed tab, paste the embed code in, maybe take out the suggested videos by putting $REL equals 0, and then okaying that. And now I've pasted the video, I've embedded the video into Canvas again, and the students can play it from there, and they won't get suggested videos and so on. So that's the process of getting your Zoom recording that's stored locally into YouTube, and then thence to Canvas.
Excuse me, Dave,
Yes.
One other question I've got here. I've got some older students who have had to drop the class because they don't do computers. I would like to keep them involved with my orchestra program. Is there a way I can make recordings of my Zoom class on a DVD so I can send them a DVD to see what we're doing?
Yeah, absolutely. You could do that. You need some DVD burner software, which you can find free versions of that on the web. I could look back. I've got a couple. I could send you something that's worked for me. You could then are you making these recordings in Zoom?
Yes, I'm recording my Zoom class.
Right. You can, if you record to your local computer, you can just go and find that file, as I showed you, and then use the DVD burner software to put that on a DVD.
Unfortunately, I sent it to the cloud.
That's okay. I was going to ask you that. You can download it from the cloud.
Okay.
You can go to, again, zoom.us and sign in as you, and go to your recordings link here on the left, and you'll see each of your recordings listed there, and under the more menu for each of the recordings is an option to download.
Oh, good.
Okay, you will get, there's actually more than one file. There's the video file, there's a transcript, there's a caption file, and something else. I forget what the other one is. You'll get all of those files, but you're only interested in the video file, and it's the big one, so it's the one that takes the longest to download. But they'll all download one after another automatically. Just put them somewhere where you can find them on your local hard drive, obviously. And then you can use the MPEG-4, the .mp4 file, that is the actual video and audio recording, with your DVD burner software to create a DVD. And very often you can put more than one. You can get about an hour of recording on a standard DVD. Though some burner software will allow you to compress more on there, the quality just suffers a little bit, but it's okay. But that's a process I don't think we really have time to go through right now, but if you're interested in doing that, email me, and we can meet together on Zoom, and I can show you that process using one of the DVD burner software packages I have. I don't pay for those, so it's got to be free.
That would be great, because I'm hoping when this is all over, we'll be able to go back into a regular rehearsal routine where these folks will come back and join us again.
I do understand, and that's a wonderful thing for you to want to do. I will point out that you could just put them on YouTube, but that's right. You said these folks have DVD players, but probably not. Yeah, I'm with you. So you really need them. You really need them on a piece of physical media.
Yes, they're in their 80s and 90s.
Yeah, they've still got a DVD player hooked up to their TV, and they can just pop it in and play it. I'm with you. I understand the situation perfectly, and yes, I'd be happy to show you how to do that, because that's kind of a cool idea. I really like that, the thought that you're doing that for your challenged students, who are mostly my age.
Hey, David. Sorry.
Yes.
Which is, what is the advantage of the things you just told us before? What's the advantage of using the embed plus adding those little things versus just using the URL?
Yeah.
Is that because of ads on the right?
Yeah, if it's a video that's stored on YouTube, your students, if it's embedded in a Canvas page, your students won't see the ads on YouTube.
Okay. Even if it's my video, they will still see the ads if I don't.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they sure will. So those ads, in their minds, quite unfairly, sort of become associated with you.
Yeah.
And I prefer not to have my students associating a picture of someone in a thong who shouldn't be wearing a thong with me. So I like to control that.
I can't imagine why not.
Marlene?
Whatever.
Marlene, it's Nona. Can you repeat your question, please?
My question was, if you make a video, you put it on your local computer, it goes to YouTube. Dave showed us 2 ways of putting it into your Canvas. One was just the URL and one was the embed.
Yes.
Embed with those 4 or 5 characters, remove the ads.
Yes.
Whereas if you put the URL, which is faster, you get the ads.
Okay.
And that's
right.
distracting, right? That is like leading them on a tangent.
Yeah. Now, if the video's not on YouTube, that's not so important. And the links work fine. I mean, the students are going to get to the videos through the links, the external URL links. And that's, you know, the main thing is that they see the video. Everything else is kind of secondary. So do it whatever way makes sense for you and that's easy for you.
My lower level students are not going to realize that those ads are not from me.
That's right.
They're seeing my thing and think, oh, there are 2 other things my teacher wants me to see.
Some of them might be that confused. Most of them will be fairly familiar with YouTube, and they'll probably know that that's not your fault. But some of them will not be that sophisticated. You're right.
Level 3, kind of lower, probably a third to a half are lower technologically competent people. So
I hear you. So yeah, I just like the embeds, and they look better. I feel like they're more likely to suck the student in to click on it than just a plain hyperlink, a text-anchored hyperlink would be. So, but I don't have any solid evidence to suggest that that's true. Let's see, there was someplace else I was going here. Oh, yes. If all of that becomes a little vague later, just go to the on-demand video site and search for Zoom tutorials. You can just type Zoom, or if you want to get right to the recording tutorials, type the word Zoom and recording. Will narrow your search a little bit. And here I've got recording to your local computer in Zoom and loading the recording onto YouTube, which is what I showed you there at the end. And I've got a recording on how, if you run out of space in your Zoom cloud, how to move your Zoom recordings from the Zoom cloud to YouTube. So those will be there anytime you need them. So if some of this stuff, and of course I've just recorded all that into the recording of this meeting as well, but it's easier to find here than it will be scrubbing through the recording trying to find where I was talking about this. So, and you certainly don't want to have to sit there and watch. We're up to 2 hours and 33 minutes right now of recording in order to find that one thing. So we try to put the stuff that you're really going to need into this site, so in focused short tutorials, so that you don't have to sit through an entire 2 hours of recording to get one piece of information that you needed. If you do want to look at these recordings again, though, on this site, in this menu bar at the top of the screen is a link to the workshop archives. And that's where these recordings go. This one will be up there sometime in the next day or two. And it will be, they're listed chronologically, so the most recent ones show up first. And we've got recordings going back several years here. We're up to 6 pages of recordings right now. A dozen a page. So You can find just about any of the sessions we offer in here as recordings from previous sessions. Again, under Workshop Archives. That was the one I wanted to be sure I got in. Now, somebody else had a question.
I have another question, Dave, which is, I know you've said several times about, so your students can hear the video that you're streaming to them. You have to press a little box. I don't know where that box is.
Good question. Just a second. I have that's another one of those things I can't show you live in Zoom while I'm sharing my screen, but I do have a screenshot of that somewhere. Just a second. I just have to go back and find it here. That ain't it.
Marlene, can you elaborate on your question? I don't have any background knowledge of what you're talking about.
On several of these meetings with Dave, and it was before I remembered seeing that if you wanted to share a video with your students, like say I think Dave, even
in a Zoom meeting,
you have to press on the lower left corner of the video. I don't know if it is in the video or the Zoom meeting. You have to press a little box that says allow your students to hear the video, because sometimes you press the video and they can see it, but they can't hear the audio.
Oh.
And I didn't know where that little, I remember seeing the little box.
I didn't even know you could do that. You could show them a video in Zoom. Other than, I mean, I knew you could do it in shared screen.
Right, that's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
I think.
yes. Yeah, and I'm looking for that screenshot. I tell you, let me just take it again, just a second. I'll stop my share for a second and restart it and take a screenshot of that page. I appear to have lost the one I took before. All right. Come on, let's see. I'm using another program here to, there we go. All right, now I'll share my screen. And here's what we're talking about. When at the bottom, if you look, you can see this right now on your screen. If I stop my share, if you mouse over me and look at the bottom of your screen, you will see a Zoom menu down there. And there's a little green square with an up arrow in it that's labeled share. That's where you click to share your screen. Mm-hmm. And when you click that button, this is what appears on your screen. This rectangle right here, or something very much like it.
The rectangle where, Dave? I only see the gallery view. Oh, all right, now I see it.
Oh, good. Okay. Whoops. Did I not share my screen? There it is. Okay. The default is to share your entire screen, which is your desktop, so-called, which I strongly recommend. Just leave that alone, though you can select other options. But the option we're talking about is down here in the lower left-hand corner, where it says Share Computer Sound. Be sure that's checked.
I don't see that, Dave. I just see the gallery view over the Zoom.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm not sharing my screen. Sure enough. Excuse me. Bad.
I'm confused.
I thought I did. I could swear I shared that screen. Now I know I am. Okay, I can see the toolbar over there. All right. This is what I'm talking about. And here's the Share Computer Sound option right there.
Press share before you actually share it, because you haven't pressed share yet. Is that correct?
Correct. Well, I did actually. I'm sharing my screen with you right now in order to show this screenshot to you. This is just an image, a picture from my screen that I saw before I fully shared my screen. So this is when you click the share button in your Zoom meeting, this is what you see.
Right. I get it. So then you click the lower left where it says share computer
Right
center.
here.
And then you go to the right and press share.
And you click share here, and then your screen is actually shared.
Okay.
What does
The
that
purpose-
mean? What
the
does that
purpose
mean?
of this is
Optimize.
what to share. Yes.
What does that mean? Next to share computer sound, there's optimize screen sharing for video clip. What does that mean?
If you're going to be playing you're going to be playing a video full screen, you may want to check that option. But I've found that sometimes that blurs the other screens that you share. So if you're showing your students, say, a website or a document or something on your screen, and that you want to talk about with them, it might be fuzzy to them if you check that option. So I only check that when I know I'm going to be playing a video and not doing anything else.
Okay, thank you.
It's likely to do more harm than good. I found that out the hard way. I've got a bunch of sessions where my shared screens were not as sharp as they could have been because of selecting that option. I have this feeling that Zoom has probably corrected that, but I was burnt, so I don't use it anymore.
Thank you.
Good question. All right. I'm looking at the chat tool over here to see if anything is sitting in there that I haven't answered. I think most of you have spoken up, and I appreciate you doing that. And I think I've answered most of those. And Sandra, if you're still here, I sure did mention Films on Demand. I gave it a real good ride. Is it more convenient to upload our own videos to the file section of Canvas? I went through a number of reasons why we don't think that's a good idea at all. And Swank, I'd forgotten about Swank. I'm so glad Sandra shared that. I'm going to see if I can get access to Swank. Okay. Disney is why copyright law changes. That is so true. The reason that that the public domain time limit has not moved forward from 1927 over many years, it was supposed to be much more recent. After copyright is only good for so many years, theoretically, and I think that copyright, the so-called public domain line, was supposed to be somewhere in the 60s by now, or even later. I forget what the exact duration of copyright is supposed to be, but Disney has lobbied to not have that line moved, that timeline moved, for many, many, many years because of Mickey Mouse. Mickey Mouse first appeared in a cartoon called Steamboat Willie in 1927. And Disney is absolutely bound to determine that Mickey Mouse is never going into the public domain. So that's why, books and videos that should be in the public domain and freely available to everyone are not, because of Mickey Mouse. Or so the story goes. If I'm showing a copyrighted video through Zoom and record the class and publish it on YouTube, you may get a copyright strike. And you don't want that.
Dave?
So don't put anything on YouTube that has any copyrighted video or audio in it, period. Yes.
When you're finished answering questions, I was wondering if I could show you my YouTube channel, maybe through shared screen, so you can see, yeah, so you can advise me what to do.
I'd be more than happy to.
Thank you.
Okay, let's see. There was a question about accessing films on demand. Let's see. Oh. Oh. Sorry, I got a text from Canvas. I'm trying to make sure I hadn't done something wrong there. I missed how to access films on demand from our Canvas page. Just in case that did not get answered, let me show you again. You do that from within the rich content editor in Canvas. It's on the second line of the control icons for the rich content editor. It's this blue V, which if you mouse over it says more external tools. You click on that, and Films on Demand is one of the options that pops up. You just click on that option and you go to a search box for Films on Demand, and then it's quite straightforward from there.
And
just to be, yes.
Sorry, this you can use in your Canvas in Zoom, but you cannot upload this to YouTube.
No, you cannot. There's no way to download the file to upload it to YouTube, no.
Oh.
You can use it in Canvas, or you can go to you or your students can go to the library website and log in with your user ID and your password there and view the films from there as well. But you have to be a faculty member or a matriculated student at one of the colleges to do that. I'm not sure about continuing ed. I don't know if continuing ed has access to films on demand or not. I don't think it does, but I could be wrong.
No, they don't, Dave.
Oh, they don't?
No, they don't, because they're not. The films on demand databases are licensed by FTE. And unless those are continuing ed courses that are for credit at City, they won't have access.
Got it. Got it. Through ECC, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that to be the case. So good. Thank you for confirming that.
You're welcome. I did have a comment as well, because one of the things in the chat, I was going back and forth with Nick. He was saying he was trying to do a search for photosynthesis, but he kept getting an error occurred when processing this request. Please try again. And I had run into that as well about a week ago. And what I found was it seemed to work in Firefox, but I was having trouble with both Safari and Chrome. So I don't know why that happens.
I'm using Chrome here, and it worked like a shot for me.
Yeah, I know. And I don't get it.
I haven't tried it in any other web browser. I'll tinker around with it. I have heard that. I've heard that it can be a little finicky. And it may have something to do with the version of the update of the web browser that's being used. I have mine set to update automatically, so it should be the most current version. But you never know. I would say we'd probably have to deal with those issues on an individual basis. So by and large, it does seem to work like a shot. And gosh, what a wonderful repository that is, a wonderful collection. What, we came up with thousands of videos on photosynthesis?
Yeah.
Gosh,
there's a lot.
Almost too much, because it's hard to pick.
What I'm finding also is I know a lot of folks like Canopy, because that's a lot of documentary videos. However, Canopy it's a very expensive platform, and the libraries have to subscribe to each film individually, and that's the library. And it was so expensive that Stanford had to drop using it because they couldn't afford those movies. So what I find is I get requests from faculty through Canopy saying, hey, can we get this film? And I have to say, sorry, we can't. But and a lot of times they're in Films on Demand. So the moral is, if you can't find it in Canopy, try Films on Demand.
I hear you.
There's some overlap. I can't say it always happens, but sometimes it does, and they luck out, and we already have it.
All right. Oh, it's just incredible that these resources are available, though. Yeah. And going back as far as I do with this, it's just stunning what you can get online now. Okay. About a month ago, oh, this is you, Sandra. You had some delays in getting your Zoom recordings captioned. Yes.
Yeah.
That's another drawback of the Zoom cloud. The captioning does not usually happen as rapidly as it does on YouTube. Oh. And sometimes it can take quite a while, as you say, days for it to show up.
I didn't realize it was going to take that long. And so I gave up and posted it to YouTube so I could get the video, the captioning done.
And then 3 days later, you get the email, right?
Exactly. That is exactly what happened. I wanted to get back. I did a session on the library for an English class or a psych class, and I wanted to give them the information right away. I couldn't wait 3 days. I didn't know it was going to take that long. I just thought it didn't do it. I thought we'd messed up somewhere.
Yeah, you could be. That's certainly understandable. Zoom is this tiny little company up in LA, and Google is this megalith all over the world, and YouTube is just going to be better resourced than the Zoom cloud. So that's another reason I pretty much stick with YouTube, because I know that my videos are going to play from YouTube. They're going to be captioned in a timely manner, and I really feel like I have more control over them there. I know I'm totally insignificant to Google. Google has no interest in my videos or anything like that, other than as a potential source of clickbait. And so I know if I remove my videos from YouTube that they're gone. If I put something up by mistake and take it down, I can feel confident that nobody's ever going to see it and so on. Not so confident with the Zoom cloud, so I like to stick with YouTube. But that's, please understand, that's more of a personal preference than anything else. The Zoom cloud has worked really, by and large, has worked great. And it's very simple to use for your Zoom recordings. And it's a great way to create instructional videos and serve them out to your students almost without effort on your part. So I'm very, very thrilled that we have that resource.
Dave, I just have another question. I see that the video that you've got up is in Pages. How do we get that to a module?
Good question. To insert a page that you've created through the Pages tool into a module, you just click the plus the add sign for the module and select Page.
Okay.
When you do that, any pages that you've already created will appear here in a list.
Okay.
And you just select that and add item, select the page you want and add item, and there the link appears.
So is that preferable to just add everything to Pages and then add it to the module rather than going in to the module directly?
I prefer to just add the page to the module first by clicking New Page, and then Add Item, except that I didn't give it a name. Let's see, sample. That's why I got the dreaded red message. Give it a name and add the item. That gives you a blank page and you've already got a link to it in the module. Now you click on the name of the page and you go to edit and you actually create the page, the content for the page. And when you save this, the page is already linked into the module.
Okay.
So to me, that's a more streamlined approach, but either way works fine.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, both the Zoom Cloud and YouTube will create your captions. And you can edit the captions at need either place. If anybody's interested in that, I can show you how to do it. We also have tutorials for that. It's quite simple. Well, I will tell you that the vast majority of the time, the captions are so good that editing them is not de rigueur. And with something like a Zoom recording that may be an hour or two long, it's impractical to edit the captions. It's not scalable. You couldn't do it. You wouldn't do anything else if you did. Having done some of that, trust me, that's not practical. Do we have to record a Zoom meeting? No, you certainly are not required to record a Zoom meeting if you don't want to, or if there's some reason for you not to. You certainly don't have to. It's a wonderful thing to provide. If it's a meeting where you're teaching, where you're providing information to your students, it's a wonderful thing for your students to have that. But that's up to you. That's academic freedom. You get to decide whether you record that Zoom meeting or not.
Dave, do the students have the opportunity to record them on their own, or is that a setting that you have?
You can give a student or a small group of students the right to record a Zoom meeting, but that's not generally advisable. For one thing, it can mess with the performance on Zoom. But for another, I just generally best if you retain control of the recordings of your own meetings. Then you get to decide whether you provide those to your students or not. Or maybe you want to edit them before you do.
Automatic?
Yeah, they can't record unless you specifically give them the capability to do that.
Okay. Thanks.
Well, they can't record through Zoom. Realize that nothing you can do to stop them from firing up something like Camtasia or Snagit or Screencast-O-Matic during a Zoom session and recording it. Now, there's no way you could know they were doing that, and there's no way you could stop them from doing it if they did. So anything that appears on a computer screen can be recorded. It's a good thing to keep in the back of your mind. Though it would require an unusually sophisticated student to do so. Would you not burn a DVD while you were recording the meeting? No, I don't know of a way to do that. You'd have to take the recording file, record to your local computer, take the recording file, and then feed it to a DVD burner software package that would then burn. And of course, you also have to have a DVD writer drive in your computer, which is less and less common these days, particularly on laptops. So you might have to get an external DVD recorder as well that plugged into a USB port. Oh, thank you. Some nice things people are saying. Can you give me a step-by-step guide to get to all these recordings of these Zoom meetings I'm doing? Yes, I'll do that again. That is in our sdccdolvid.org site. Just open up a web browser, type in sdccdolvid.org, and I've put this in the chat tool before, but I'll do that again. On demand, yeah, that. There, it's in the bottom of the chat tool. Remember, you can save the chat log. But anyway, just type that in on the web. This is linked in various places too, but the easiest way to get to it is to just type it in on the address line of a web browser window and then bookmark it when you get there. And that will take you to the on-demand video website. And the workshop archives, we call them, are in this top menu here. You just click where it says Workshop Archives, and they're all listed in chronological order, most recent first. And there's 6 pages worth of them, so you just have to keep paging and through to find something. We've done a lot recently, so there's quite a few recent ones in there. Okay, got that one. Where can I find how to do breakout rooms on Zoom? Okay, that's something that the question has come up enough that we have put in a new session where we're going to cover that among some other things in more advanced techniques in Zoom. We're offering that on the 29th of May in the morning from 10 a.m. to noon. So that's one place you'll be able to get that. It's a little beyond the scope of this session right now, but I will be covering that during that. But you can also obviously, or also on your own, just go to Google and type Zoom breakout rooms. There's nothing that Google doesn't know. And here's, right away you get the Zoom help pages for breakout rooms. Managing, pre-assigning, participating, enabling, everything. Everything you need to know is right there. But I will be doing that in a future meeting. I'll be putting you in breakout rooms in that session. I've got to practice with that a little bit myself first. I don't use that much. Okay. Oh, thank you. Okay. I'm at the bottom of the chat tool. Does anybody else have another question? Hi, Nona. I saw you unmute yourself there.
Okay.
Anything you'd like to ask?
Yeah, I'd like to share my screen.
Oh, yes. Please do. Let me stop my share.
Okay.
Now you have the capability to share your screen.
Okay, thank you.
All righty. There you are, YouTube.
Sorry.
Let's see here. View options.
Okay, so.
Flipped window. Yeah, good. All right. Looks good.
Yes.
Yep, there you are in your YouTube studio, and there's your video list. Very good. That all looks good. Oh, yeah, that's where it says copyright claim. Okay, it cannot be monetized. Click where it says see details. Oh, good. Okay, that first one where it says not affected. That's good. It means this is not what they call a copyright strike.
Okay.
Which would mean that you were on probation for 90 days. And if you did it again, they'd delete your account. So you're okay. This was apparently a fairly minor omission. They realized that this was not, you didn't like upload a ripped copy of 1917 or something to the site, which people try.
So as
Yeah,
long as I don't make money on it, I can leave it there?
Exactly. What they're telling you here is that you can't get a pay-for-click arrangement on this video, where you get a tiny fraction of a cent every time somebody watched it or something like that. They're not going to let you do that.
Okay.
But they're not going to prevent you from using this video, and it's not going to stop working in Canvas or anything like that, and you're at no risk in doing that. So I wouldn't worry about it.
Okay. All right.
It looks like it's the audio from the screen that you're showing.
Maybe
the music.
Yeah, but the music was chosen from their website.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought this up because I've tried to use Powtoons as well, and I posted it, and I haven't noticed anything, but now I'll be more aware.
Yeah, look, this is what it is.
Yeah, I've used a very similar template.
Just music.
That's Powtoons bad, not yours.
Yeah, and I think if you read the fine,
worry about it though.
If you read the fine print on their agreement, they do talk about copyright within the Powtoons agreement. But yeah, this is not good. And I wonder also, have you enabled your site for YouTube to be monetized?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
No,
I only have 2 videos in here on my channel.
Okay.
No, you don't have to enable that to get this message. I've gotten this message myself for the same reason, over some music that was in a video that I uploaded that
It gives you an option here to mute the song, to replace the song, or to dispute.
No, I wouldn't.
Okay.
I just leave it alone.
All right.
You don't care about monetizing it. They're not. That's not a copyright strike.
Right.
There's no reason to worry.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Let me pause my recording a second. I will mention something.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, none of that got recorded. Anything else I can help with? Looks like there's only 3 of us left.
Thank you so much. You've been very helpful. Thank you.
Oh, and Sandra, thank you so much.
Sure.
And thanks for the initial reach out about Films on Demand.
Yeah,
I'm
thank you,
really glad I got to include that here today. So this is the first time I've been able to do that. What I had to do was put my practice course that I was using into the Mesa sub-account. I could have put it in Cities as well, or Miramar's, but I had to put it in a sub-account where the app, the Films on Demand app, was loaded. That's why I hadn't been able to use it before. So that once your information cleared all that up and made it possible for me to do that. So I really appreciate it. And I appreciate you participating and staying around this long so much.
Well, I needed to learn a lot too. So, and I also wanted to get the word out that we've got all this good stuff and faculty need to use it because we need the stats to be able to say that we can still pay for it. I mean, these bills come due, and with the budget crunch as it's coming down, I'm really worried about
I love to have you at any time, any of these meetings, do that. So thanks
Have a
so
nice
much.
evening. Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
have a wonderful time and stay safe. I'll see you soon, I hope. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye, Dave.
Bye-bye.